Hello everybody and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast, episode number 79. Hello, our Croissant Podcast Reeve, Scythe now. My name is Gareth Evans and joining me today is Mr. Henry Devil May Cry Cooper.
You kind of squashed that one a little bit.
So just ignore that. Let's just pretend that didn't happen.
Move right past it and go straight into the meat and potatoes of whatever the hell we're talking about.
Meat and potatoes. So today we've got a jam-packed bill for you today. We've got loads of things to discuss. There's a controversial PlayStation 8.0 update, which we're going to be discussing briefly. Schreier versus CDPR continues, and I don't think this is going away anytime soon. Hades, which we've both been playing now, and we can have a little quick chat about that. Then we'll have the quiz of the week, the questions from the Discord, Triggered Fanboy comment of the week, the other YouTube comments, bad dad joke to end off the show. For any of that, though, Henry, how have you been? What have you been doing this week?
I've been all right. I've been just playing Hades. I finished it. It took me fucking ages, and I won't tell you how many runs it did because it was rather embarrassing. But yeah, I finished it. It took me a long time, but then as soon as I finished it, I immediately finished it again.
Yeah.
And then
should we just jump into Hades first? Should we just
let's do Hades first. We'll start off simple and then we'll
start with the nice one. Yeah. Because I picked it up straight after. Like I said, I'm gonna download it right now. I'm gonna play it, and I did, and I've played it, and it's tricky, but it gets easy. I think I made good progress. I do have to say though, I think I'm addicted.
It's really good.
I think I'm addicted.
Because it gives you, like, it's a roguelite, so you're going to die a lot, and it can feel quite grindy sometimes if you feel like you're not getting progress. And a lot of it comes down to luck. A lot of it comes down to whether or not the gods give you the right powers, because sometimes they just give you trash. You can do little things to help boost your chances of getting good stuff, but sometimes it's quite luck-based. So you can have a couple of bad runs, but then it'll give you a good bit of story, and you'll get, like, one new power-up, which is like, fuck yeah, I'm going to wreck some shit. Although, for, like, 2 or 3 runs in a row, all I got was Aphrodite and Artemis. I'm like, great. And all the shitty Artemis ones, not even like higher ability ones. 10% chance to have critical on your ranged attacks. Great. Well, I don't have any other powers in my ranged attack, so it's really weak. So why would I ever need that? Yeah. And Aphrodite, enemies do less damage to you. Yeah, but I'm trying to not get hit here.
It's how you use them, and what I like about it is that you do get it's the hammer one, which is obviously the best because that just upgrades your main weapon, and then from there on out, you can plan ahead. Like, I'm going to use the Exegriff, which is like the assault rifle. And I'm just gonna get grade up my special ability because that's like a rocket launcher. But then you get this hammer, and you're like, your attack is now 300%, or you've got unlimited ammo. You don't have to reload. It's like, maybe I'll rethink this. Maybe I'll focus on my attack rather than my special. And then it just adapt. The
ball fat upgrades on that hammer, man. They get you some good stuff. Some of them aren't so good. Like one, I think for the sword, it turns it into an overhead strike, which is quite powerful, but it's really slow. So that kind of threw me off a lot. But some of them are just so good. But easily, the best combo for me is anything from Zeus and anything from Poseidon. If I can get 2 of those together, because they synergize really well, that's awesome. Ares is great, because you can just stack up his Doom. Is it Doom? Doom damage.
Yeah.
Theseus is a little prick. The Minotaur, piece of piss. Theseus just blocks everything, so you hit him with Doom and he's gone.
Have you got many of the duo abilities yet? Because they're quite good, aren't they?
They're pretty cool. I've had a handful of them, and as soon as one pops up, I'll get that. Like, it doesn't matter what else is on offer, get the duo one. It's best of both worlds. I find
that, what's the one with, the one that makes you speed up? The boon. Hermes. He's one of the most essential ones for me, because just being able to whiz around. There's one ability where, like, for you're a little bit faster for like a fraction of a second after you've just done a dash. So you literally can just keep going really, really fast around and just avoid everything. And that's one of the key ones for me, being able to complete it the first time. Obviously, I used the assault rifle Exegriff the first time, because you can just bombard them from distance, and you've got like a triple special, or you've got like a row of special ones that you can do. And I was like, well, that was cool. once you complete it, it opens up the bill of, I can't remember the name of it, but it gives you all different adaptations and allows you to tweak the difficulty in order to get better rewards, which is great. It makes this game's end game that much better. There's just an unlimited amount of content there if you just want to keep tweaking and making things a little bit more difficult. There's a list of like 20 different adaptations, and I think that's the type of thing that you need in a game. This game, you remember that this game, it is it's not a AAA game with all fancy graphics and that. And I saw one comment, a game that looks like it's from 2001 makes game of the list year. Some snidey comment like that on last week's podcast.
I saw the same one.
But it's not about that. Like, this game was released on day one. All right, it went in early access, but I didn't experience that at all. It released day one in full working order. It got a really extensive new game plus type of thing, or end game. It's got loads of content. The gameplay is very addictive. There's just a whole complete game. I've not seen one bug with it. There's no problem with it whatsoever. And I feel like the £22 I've spent on this game is one of the best value for pound per hour played that I've had in many years. I think definitely.
What did you get it on then? Did you get it on the Switch or on the PC?
Oh yeah, on the Switch. I got a choice of just like chilling out on the screen and then, or just playing on my bed or whatever.
Exactly. I pretty much exclusively played in handheld. I played like a little bit on docked mode. Well, funnily enough, talking about Joy-Con drift a couple of weeks ago, that's been one of my Joy-Cons has been worse than ever with Joy-Con drift at the moment. And the amount of times I'll be fighting someone, just like a regular enemy, one of the bigger ones, and then as Agrit is just like, nope, I'm going to go walk in a spike trap, or I'm going to go walk in lava and take stacking damage. And it's just, why are you doing this to me? Eventually I switched back to my other one, which also drifts, but that one's been on its best behavior for now. So it's not been so awful. But
so I mean, I guess to begin with it was slow going, and it is a bit grindy for, in terms of criticisms, but when you get into the meat of it and when you start unlocking all the different, every time you come back from a run you've got something else to think about, something else to unlock, something else to augment your play style. It just keeps it so. The first two runs that I completed were with the Exegriff, and then I was like, well, the shield's pretty good, let's try the shield. And then I went on a full run with the a modifier to make it more difficult, as in the traps were like 300% more damage or something like that, just to give me that extra bit of bonus if I completed it or run it through. And I completed it with that too. But I feel like the early game boons and adaptations aren't near as good as the like mid to late game ones. So it does take a while to get into it in terms of being really powerful. Obviously you'd expect that anyway, but it just feels like they're drip feeding the more powerful ones the more you struggle and die, really, which I think is a little bit unfair.
Like, you'll go through one run, you'll get like a bunch of Zeus stuff and a bunch of the hammers and what is it the Poms, which give you upgrades as well. They boost your certain abilities level up. You'll get loads of those and you'll do it really well. And then something will go wrong. You'll die. It's fine. And then you'll start again and it's just trash. It's just shit. You're not getting anything. It's just not going your way. You've just got to try and persevere through it.
Yeah, that's it.
I definitely think the shield is probably my favourite. Just most consistent that I'll do really well with. Yeah. Because especially for the bosses, especially the final boss, really, you can block with it. Oh yeah. It's basically you everything Captain America can do. You can punch people with it. You can throw with it. So you can just take those big hits, and just power up your special attack, which is a ranged attack. Put all of your hammers and upgrades into that, so that's as strong as it can be. And then you just stand there, block, 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 throw the shield, block, 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 throw the shield, and then it's easy. You won't even die. You won't even have to do what's the ability when you respawn. We can just do it in one attack. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I think when I completed it with the shield, I even had the main attack ability where instead of like the bull rush thing, you just fired It was like a projectile thing, and I just blocked and then fired, blocked, fired. I literally was almost invincible, and I paired that with, I think it was like minus 20% front damage. You get these, when you give gifts to someone, you get the little things.
The keepsakes.
Yeah, the keepsakes. There was minus 20% damage from the front, so I was tanking everything. Every time I got hit, it was minimal damage. And then, it was, I was just, I absolutely smashed it. I think I did it in like 33 minutes or something, which was my fastest yet.
I think my fastest, it's taken a long time to get there, but now I've got it like officially. My first completion was like 27 minutes. So wow, I'm like, it took me a lot of runs to get there. Yeah. But it's too many. But yeah, the shield's definitely my favorite. Big fan of the spear as well. Although I just got the because you can upgrade your weapons with like stats, but then there's also like aspects, they call them, which are basically different versions of them. It'll give it a slightly different spin on one of its attacks. And there's like a third one, which is like a legendary, like super fancy one, and it's awful at first because it's meant to give you your max health is reduced by like 70%, and the amount of health you can regain is reduced by 70%. So like when you pick up a health pack, that's reduced by 70%. So the whole thing's much harder. But on your spin attack ability, that can recover health, but it's rubbish because it's only like one like bit, and you can upgrade it, which is cool. Like you'll take less health off at the beginning and get a little bit more from every spin attack. But I'm like, this is like the legendary weapon. I was really excited to try this. I spent loads of resources on it that are quite hard to get, and I was just like, this fucking sucks. I'm going back to the other one. This is awful.
Well, there you go. So we're both really enjoying Hades now. I think that's a unanimous thumbs up from the team here, given how reasonably priced it is compared to other games and how much fun you can have with it. I mean, in terms of it being I was a bit underwhelmed by there only being like 3 main areas and then whatever's after that. I don't really want to spoil there, but there's 3 main thingies and then there's more, but that is pretty limited in terms of the amount of areas that are there. I think obviously there is scope to expand that in future, but I would have liked a few more areas, a few more bosses. It comes to a point where you've played the bosses so often, you don't have to even worry about having to spam it like I used to do. You're just like, all right, just move out the way and then do this. And
there's so much the game doesn't tell you either, that like gameplay stuff, but like little secret things. Like I didn't know until I stumbled across it just looking at stuff online about it. There are romance options. You can romance, I think, 3 different characters by giving them nectar. You can like when you get their keepsakes. I think you can do it to Thanatos, Dusa, and Megara, and presumably you get a little bit of Nookie at the end of it. But
nice.
The romance options that the game doesn't fucking tell you about. It's just like, here's little extra. It's more than an Easter egg at this point, which is there's loads of little things like that. It's really cool.
That's cool. There's more to play of it, and I'll definitely be playing more. That's for sure. I just need to not play that anymore because I've got work to do. That's the problem. I draw a line like maybe 6 or 7 p.m. That's my time then. If I want to play the game, I'll play the damn game, damn it. But before then, I need to kind of cold turkey until set my own gaming limits. Otherwise, I'll just be there for hours. But there you go. Hades.
Well, that's one of the beautiful things about this kind of roguelite is you can pick it up, do one run, be like, okay, leave me alone now. I've had enough.
There you go. That is Hades, or the update on Hades. We are going to move on now to the controversial PlayStation 8.0 update. Now, we're hearing, like, this is news just in, it's been reported that Sony are spying. Sony are spying on their users, and they are listening to you while you're having party chats. Now, that sounds...
Big Brother is
really,
watching you.
I mean, they've shot themselves in the foot. If that's the case, there'll be people jumping away from Sony, going on to Microsoft for the next console generation, basically doing what they're connected and spying on people. Nobody wants that, right? Well, that is what you'd believe if you were reading the headlines. And one of the headlines was Game Rant. I'll just read it out. PS4 users agreed to their voices being recorded for moderation by using party chat. Subheading being, the new PlayStation 4 system update 8.0 adds a controversial new feature that allows Sony to record party chats for moderation purposes. False. That is bad journalism. That is not true. What is happening, by the way, that was just me sensationalizing things. If I wanted to make a clickbait video or an article, journalism isn't about reporting the news or investigating the news anymore. It's about generating clicks with these kind of sensationalist things. Not that I'm a Sony pony. Yeah, not that I'm a Sony pony that I'd necessarily want to defend Sony in this. However, it's not all as it appears. Sony to record party chats is false. That's not what's happening. And there has been an update to clarify this situation on the PlayStation blog thing. Now, what was said? The update, when the updates, I can't remember what the terminology was, but it allows users to record other users in party chat, and that's what was said. So you couldn't really misinterpret that, but a lot of people did. So Sony have come out and clarified exactly what this means. And it said the following. Update. Following this update, users are seeing a notification about party safety, and voice chats in parties may be recorded. Voice chat recording for moderation is a feature that will be available on the PS5 when it launches, and will enable users to record their voice chats on PS5 and submit them for moderation review. Sony is not recording or listening. It is users who are in the chat with you who are able now to record their own chats with other people. And it continues, the pop-up you're seeing on the PS4 right now is to let you know that when you participate in chat with a PS5 user post-launch, they may submit those recordings from their PS5 console to SIE. What this basically is a security filter feature. It's allowing users who may be subject to hateful language on the internet with other users. It allows them to record those interactions and report them to Sony to dish out the relevant disciplinary things. I fail to see the uproar here. I think this has been blown up. And
I absolutely agree with, if you read the sensational headlines like Sony is spying on you, my first instinct is to be like, well, that's pretty shit. Like what's up with that? But based on this update, and it is Sony's fault for not communicating it clearly enough. Like they've had to come out and put this update out. Bad Sony for not making it clear. But now they've explained Sony aren't recording it, it's users recording it, and it's coming to the PS5. It's not actually happening on the PS4 yet. At least that's what they're telling us. That it could all be a lie. You've got to say that these days, because people are, yeah, but it could not be true. Yeah, it could all be bullshit. They could be doing anything. But this sort of thing, they're recording, well, users can record and then share your party chats and send them to Sony. So if you're calling someone, for instance, the N-word, something which I think most rational people can say is, an abhorrent thing to do, you can then send that to Sony and be like, yo, this person did this. You can do anything about it.
And let's talk about women as well. I mean, women are subject to a lot of harsh things. Young gamers like targeting girls who with horrible language. Everyone's seen the examples of that happening. That's just extra protection and a way that they're able to report this behavior now. I think that's a good thing. How can that not be a good thing?
And it happens already with like text chats, like text messages and stuff on like every messaging service. Pretty much, they can see what you're typing if they need to, and see what's what. And like, fair enough. If you don't like this, I'm not saying you have to like it. Like, if you don't want anyone to have the possibility of recording you saying anything, then don't use party chat. Use something else like
chat. Don't use any chat. I mean, you go on Discord and people can be recording on their end. All this allows is them to do it on their hardware, on their PlayStations. That's all that allows. There's no way to guarantee that someone who you're talking to on any connection is not recording you. There's no way to guarantee that. This is just a way to facilitate it easier for people who want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, if this really does bother you, please explain it to me, because I am willing to be corrected, because I don't see that this is a big deal. Again, perhaps you've just been hoodwinked by the headlines, because that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to get you like mad and start typing stuff and clicks and whatnot. But I don't see this as that much of a big deal.
Yeah, maybe personally. We're naive. Maybe we're just misinterpreting the situation. Maybe we need to be corrected.
Please do. I'm not trying to be a dickhead about it. But
I've got an example of us being corrected from last week later on, and I'll get into that.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we are here to learn. We are all here to learn, not to assume and make judgments based on false assumptions. So if we've missed anything, let us know. But to us, it looks like a decent added addition to the protection of people who don't want to be abused online.
And I feel like this is one of those cases where, and it's a quote from Harry Potter, which makes it even worse. But you have nothing to fear if you have nothing to hide. If you're not afraid of saying anything inappropriate or that's actually, hateful or, anything really, really bad, then you shouldn't worry.
Yeah.
If you're the kind of person who thinks that, political correctness gone mad in absolutely everything, and they're going to come down on you if you make a joke, it's not going to happen, because it's unless your friend's being a dickhead, because it's the user who's like sending it. If it's Sony and they're the arbitrators of what's allowed to be said and what's a joke and what isn't a joke, then okay, maybe. But it's not. If you call your friend a wanker and he gets annoyed that you called him a wanker and reports it to Sony, then that's your friend's. He's the problem. He's too weak. He's deaf. In that case, he is a wanker. If your friend reports on you,
I mean, the takeaway is your friends are wankers and they're very weak.
And you're probably a wanker too. We're all wankers.
You're all wankers. That's the moral of this story. And moving on from that story to another one. Talking of wankers, Jason Schreier. That was unnecessary. That was uncalled for. That was a joke.
Report it to Sony.
Please don't report me. Jason Schreier's been at it again. He is targeting CD Projekt Red, but this time he might have a little bit more clout. He might just have unearthed something a little more damning for CD Projekt Red. CDPR, we've talked in the past podcast about them subjecting their employees to an enforced or mandatory overtime, working 6 days a week, an extra 8 hours. And we said at the time, that doesn't sound too bad. We don't know the extent of exactly all the crunch, or if however you want to term it, all the additional hours being worked and the conditions that they're working under at the studio. We don't know that. All we know is that they're mandating an extra 8 hours, which doesn't sound too bad compared with other industries. That was our take on it then. However, there's more stuff come to light. So I'll just jump in to the tweet, which is less than 24 hours ago now. Jason Schreier tweets, I think this Reddit comment from someone who worked at CD Projekt Red is worth sharing, especially since folks out there still think their overtime is limited to 48 hours. I can confirm they used to work at CDPR, just got off the phone with them. So Jason Schreier says that this guy who's posted on Reddit on a thread about the subject, Jason Schreier himself has confirmed that this guy used to work there. Now, I should read this, and this this is the damning point. This is the damning information. I'm going to read it in full to be entirely clear, and then we can discuss it afterwards. So he says, hi, CDP developer here. Not only this conversation never happened, but this is just the last in a long list of very toxic behavior from the upper management towards us developers. First of all, I confirm this conversation never happened. If anything, developers have been crunching no stop since May 2019, where the management was like, oh shit, we need to make the game, we must hurry. Mind that we were barely out of alpha at this point, and even though most developed pointed out that was impossible to do the whole game almost from scratch in 1 year. He does say they've been crunching no stop since May 2019. Doesn't sound good. He doesn't explain what the crunching is. There's no details about what conditions they were working under. Just the word crunching, which in this day and age is enough to chastise someone, is enough to cast judgment. Oh, not the crunching. Oh God, that's horrible. We don't know exactly what that crunching is at this point. He carries on. If anything, people have been dreading the inevitable 2-year death march since long before the crunch started, because they know it's just how CDP rolls. Dick around in pre-prod for ages and then brush everyone and work devs to the bone to make up for the time lost, and none of them was looking forward to it. We asked, what's the plan if we can't deliver in this set deadline? And up until December, the answer from management was, we have to. There is no plan B. So there you go. First year of crunch there, of course. First a 2-month delay and then another 6-month delay. And to give a picture of how low is the level of communication between the management and developers, we found out both times on Twitter and other socials that the game was being delayed, with a mail from Adam following a few hours later. Same happened with the gold release and any other announcements since June 2019. People getting riled up right now about the crunch. Just so you know, many people have been spending the weekends in the office doing 16 hours per day pretty much since June 2019. So a few more details there about how people are being worked 16 hours, or being able to work 16 hours over the weekend per day. Some departments even as far as a year earlier. Every time this was addressed, you'd get the usual copy and paste about, we are fueled by passion, we are rebels, this is not for everyone, and other such copy-paste slogans, which was a cool way to say, we have no idea what we're doing, but we have infinite cash and we fix everything with more crunch. Conversations end up mostly like this, the management saying that everything is great and cool, and we have to believe in the project. Our questions and doubts being brushed aside. This sounds horrible. The fact that they're not communicating properly with I've been in situations like this in the past where they're not communicating with the management, aren't communicating with the lower downs, and they're just being assumed that they are having to work. The question's being brushed aside. They're working 16 hours per day on the weekend since June 2019. That doesn't sound good, Henry.
It's not great, is it? I mean, there's a few people who are skeptical that this person is real because it is just on Reddit, and any old schmuck can come on and say that they are real or whatever. But Jason Schreier has verified it himself, and then you could say, well, maybe he got it wrong and maybe he's lying. But again, we have no proof of that. But he is a professionally trained journalist, worked for a number of professional outlets. Whether or not you like Kotaku is one thing or another, but it's a professional journalistic body. So he's trained to do that. He should have sources and he should know the protocols for checking. So I would take his word for it on that this person probably is real if he can verify it. Again, I might be wrong, but maybe I'm gullible. But yeah, this is it's pretty nasty if this is the case and this is all true, because this is proper crunch, like crunchy crunch. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's six days a week. Oh, that's not so bad. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's not so bad. But if each of those days is a double day, it's not 8 hours, it's 16 hours, then that's a lot of fucking time at the office. And the whole 48-hour work week limit thing in Poland, there are pretty much rules like that for everywhere. There's just certain fine print about it. But just because it's illegal doesn't mean it doesn't happen. A lot of it is... It's unpaid work, and they'll be at the office knowing that they're not getting paid for it because they're getting paid for the 48 hours maximum. Assuming this is all the case and it is all true, but it's pretty damning.
It is damning. The one kind of question mark for me is the way that Jason Schreier communicates these things. Right? We all know that he's totally backed by the developers, the workers who confide in him. They all reach out to him anonymously and provide him with the information that he needs to write his stuff to expose people, expose these big greedy companies or whatever. He's always anti-company when it comes to things like this, right? And what I would expect from a professional journalist, as you called him yourself, is a little bit more balance, right? In terms of you reach out to a company, ask for their point of view, you reach out to other employees who aren't feeling the same way about crunch and maybe ask for somebody else's opinion just to balance out or to temper. Because this guy no longer works for CD Projekt. Let's make that clear. He doesn't work there anymore, and we all know how easy it is to be critical of a company that you no longer work for. Maybe that frees him up to say what he likes, or maybe that just means he's a disgruntled ex-employee who didn't work well or something. I don't know. That is unclear. having one person just dropping this tweet out of nowhere without any balance, without any a lot of context, and representing this, using this information to represent the actual truth of the matter as a worker at CD Projekt Red is a little bit, I would say, unprofessional. I say it. I mean, this isn't. I would expect more from a investigative journalist. I would expect more balance. I would expect impartial. Present information in a partial way. I mean, we've never said we're professional investigative journalists. We've never said that. We just spout the shit. This guy, he gets. I don't know. I would just expect a little bit more respect for all parties if I was him, from Jason Schreier. Not that I'm defending CD Projekt Red. I'm just saying Jason Schreier could do a better job.
Yeah, he definitely does have his eyes focused on crunch is bad and that's the angle, and then everything that proves that he will go for, and anything that maybe doesn't he will kind of ignore. But possibly there is no evidence that it isn't so bad. Maybe that's why. But again, we don't know that. We don't know anything. We're just another two idiots rambling on the internet among the sea of idiots rambling about shit. At least we're not on to about politics in this fucking one, because that would make things even worse. But yeah, it's interesting because it's CD Projekt. That's what makes it such a kind of a meta controversy, really, because any company that does crime, they all fucking do it. All the big ones do it, and there's always a story about it every year. It's kind of like a new Christmas. First there was Rockstar as like the big one, and then there was Naughty Dog as the next big one, and now it's CD Projekt as the next big one, because there've been little stories about it here and there before, but nothing of that sort of scale. Now CD Projekt is in the mix, and they've had little ones in the past, and because they're so popular, most people rate them as like the best gaming company for like consumer practice and stuff. They've got this reputation, and that's what makes it tricky, because a lot of people see that they can do no wrong, and even if they do think this is wrong, they're like, but they do all this other good stuff, so to some people it's excusable. And I think recently there was a game developer, I'll see if I can find it, who came out, you think it like come out as a big public thing, but he posted on I think it was on Facebook, saying like, people want us to be the bad guys now. I don't have the quotes from him. I'm going to try and find them. But he was basically saying some people want us to be the bad guys because we've been seen as the good guys. So they will try and anytime we do the tiniest thing wrong, people jump on it. Yeah. Because we're the good guys. Whereas if EA did it, it's just EA. They're bad. It's whatever. But what's the spy? Is it spy? No, Batman. The Batman quote. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. It's so true.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can find the.
You try and find that. I'll just read the tweets from Jason Schreier. So he continues, and this is quoting the guy who he spoke to on the phone. He apparently spoke to this Redditor, this person who's since deleted his account on Reddit now, by the way. But he spoke to this guy, and he says, quotes from him: "I personally had a blast working there until they decided not the only way to finish the game was to do the death march." And then he said, "This person told me I've heard this sentiment from a few people. I've also heard it said about Naughty Dog and a couple of other game companies." So he's already equating this situation to the Naughty Dog crunch situation there. So however angry you were at Naughty Dog, you should be angry at CD Projekt Red too. That's his implication there. And he continues with another tweet. "By the way, every time I talk about this now, I'm going to get hundreds of nasty messages and misguided people trying to debunk or wave off this reporting. Whatever crunch culture at CD Projekt Red is real, and no matter what you've read, it's not just limited to 48 hours a week." I mean, this is one damning bit of evidence, or one first-hand account at the very least. It's not evidence; it's a first-hand account of someone who's worked there, who says that this crunch is real, or supposedly works there. And we've got to take this at face value. If this is true, this is horrible, and this shouldn't be allowed to work 16-hour weeks, days on a weekend.
16-hour week, what a dream.
Yeah, 16-hour week, yeah. This shouldn't be happening, and under the conditions that the management aren't communicating with them properly, and they hear about updates to the game through Twitter rather than management communication.
I'm hearing a lot of parallels with the BioWare stuff and the what they call it, the BioWare magic. About how we'll just piss about trying to figure it out, and then it'll all come together. It'll be all right on the night kind of attitude. That's the kind of vibe I get from here.
I definitely think
so I have found...
Okay.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you're right. Go for it.
Well, I found the guy. What's his name? So he posted it on Facebook. It is Adrian. Forgive my pronunciation. Adrian Camilas. Oh wait, no, he's from a different thing. Hold on, because it's like a thread of different people. Oh, here we go. Fucking hell, this name's even more tricky. Lucas SZCZEPANKOWSKI. SZCZ. I don't speak Polish. I don't know the sounds.
Etchen. No, that's the name of a place. SZCZ.
SZCZEPANKOWSKI. Right, he's the lead technical designer at CDPR, so he's quite a senior member of staff. And
Skezia Pankowski.
Let's say that. If you're listening, I'm really, really sorry if I've butchered your name, and please reach out and let's talk about this thing. So this is translated from Polish, so there might be some inaccuracies. He said, I can only confirm what the previous guy whose name I was struggling with wrote. Even if it comes to the situations he describes, my experience shows that game developers have relative solidarity in this respect, top to bottom, regardless of position taken. I must disappoint you. Game development managers are not proverbial capitalists, exploiters who count money while smoking a cigar from time to time and glance at the oppressed developers, however picturesque this sounds. So yeah, he's saying we're not the bad guys, despite what everyone kind of would like to believe, because the previous developer is from People Can Fly, who are also a Polish developer, and I'm pretty sure they share a lot of stuff between CD Projekt and People Can Fly, because they're two big studios in Poland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're both based in Warsaw. I've actually been to both of those studios, which is nice. So yeah. You can see how there's going to be a crossover of people going from one company to another for sure.
And just as a note, I don't think we actually touched on it at the very beginning. So this post from Schreier and this Reddit post is in direct response to claims that CD Projekt's staff supported the extra day of work. That's the suggestion that was put around, and I think by Game Informer and stuff, there's sort of some beef going on between Schreier and a bunch of other journalists and outlets. Because now apparently CD Projekt staff said, yeah, we'll do an extra day of work, and now Schreier and this guy are saying, no, we fucking didn't say that. That conversation just didn't happen. Again, I don't know if it did or didn't, but that's what they're saying. So
I feel like this story is going to run and run, especially with Cyberpunk coming up. A lot of clicks are to be had, and Schreier has got a lot of people to get comments from. I mean, there's going to be some tasty, lucrative clicks there for Bloomberg, isn't there, Mr. Schreier?
It's going to be an interesting one.
Put together one
how
article,
well the game does as well.
I mean, if their situation is where CD Projekt do have to reconsider their attitude towards crunch, that would be a win, right? Obviously,
no matter what, even if they're not crunching, if they just have to consider it and think about how they're doing it, because the conversation keeps happening, it's worth thinking about. If
they come out and have to address it because of this, then it's a good thing. If it's happening to the extent that we're led to believe here, then that would be a good a good outcome. I commend Jason Schreier for going on that crusade in order to fix these types of things. If this, like as we said, I assume it's all true. I just wish that Jason Schreier had a bit more decorum about it. It was a bit more balanced and not just trying to, I don't know, just trying to throw shit around.
A lot of them come across as hit pieces and attacks, when I don't think that's necessarily the most constructive way to go about it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just my.
But what do we know?
What do we know? That's that situation anyway, and that's what we think about it. It's probably going to be another controversial one. Let us know what you think and your thoughts. I think we're pretty balanced. We try and consider all sides, and we try and give our opinion based on what we assume is a first-hand account, or based on all the information
we understand them. That's what the politicians say.
That's it.
The rules as I understand them, to quote Mr. Boris Johnson. He doesn't know the rules, just the rules as I understand them.
If there are any other further developments or any other information that comes to light. Obviously, it might change the way that we feel and think about this, but this is how the situation and the information is as we stand, as it is, and that is it. I guess that rounds up our 3 topics for today. Let's move on now to the community section, and obviously community and our operations on online. Let's not say YouTube anymore, because YouTube, our operations on Odyssey, Utreon, and YouTube started with Odyssey there, because they're all sponsored. Finish my first thought. All sponsored by you guys in the community. So I do like to thank everybody who signs up to our Patreon every single week. And this week we've had one sign up, which is from Phil, who signed up for a $5 pledge on Patreon. Thank you very much, sir. And he actually left a message for us. I'm going to read it out here. Hey ups, guys. Been listening to the channel for ages and finally can contribute. Glad to be able to do my bit and help keep the channel going. Keep up the good work. Phil J. What a boss. Thanks very much, dude. Like I said,
cheers, bud.
If you do fancy supporting the content and making sure that we can continue to bring you content in the future, head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. You get early access to the podcast, get to ask questions for the podcast, and all that malarkey, all that good stuff. I should point out too that Odyssey is probably the best place to watch our content right now. I'm really liking Odyssey more and more. It's a YouTube equivalent. For those of you not familiar, it's a YouTube equivalent website which is growing, coming out of nowhere. I've got a link in the description to find our page on Odyssey. They've just implemented, and I was spouting off last week about the Utreon pop-out player that was awesome. And that kind of works independently to your browser, so you can just have the video there, your browser minimized, and you'd be working on whatever, and you can just kind of have it there on your screen and resize it. Well, Odyssey just implemented that this last week, and this is how these websites are. They're new, they're upcoming, and they're implementing changes and fixes and improvements all the time. This is a feature that YouTube have never had, and they're already better than YouTube, both of these platforms. So my favorite now is Odyssey. We'll check us out on Odyssey. So if you just want to have our podcast on the screen there on one side, or then daily news or whatever, and just be working away on the other side of your desktop, you can do that, and it's awesome. You don't have to have like a clunky web browser, or like you can only have 2 or 3 different sizes like on YouTube. You can resize it whatever size you want. It's mint. I really love that feature, and it will definitely get me going back to Odyssey more and more. Anyway, with those plugs out of the way, let's move on to the very first question, which happens to be the quiz of the week from Metal Shark. Now, Henry failed last week. I'm going to use that word.
Failed miserably.
Failed in his quiz last week. So he has another one. And let me just find it. Why can't I find it? Here we go. Metal Shark has put another quiz to Henry. And it goes as follows. We've got some long questions this week, and the awesome MHVG 1994, otherwise known as MVG 1994, quiz needs more time in the oven. So how about a short and simple quiz for Henry? Okay. Using 100% in-game features, so no mods, editors, etc., on any version of the game, can you pet the dog? Ooh, yes or no, 50-50. Like you should at least get 50% of these, Henry. It's 50-50. Like okay, right, number 1. Okay. Grand Theft Auto 5. Can you pet the dog?
Well, so this is an interesting one to start, because I can't even remember if you can actually pet the dog in GTA 5, but you can play catch with him. So are we counting stuff like that? Because I can't remember if you can give him little head scratches or anything, but you can throw a ball for him. And there was the really, really awful companion app where you could play with him, I think.
The question here is, Henry, can you pet the dog? It's yes or no.
Rules as written. I don't know if you can actually pet him. Fuck it, yes. Let's say yes, you can chop the dog in GTA 5. I'm probably wrong though.
The answer is no. But there is an animation for petting Chop you can unlock using a save editor. So technically no, but there's a workaround.
You can play with him, but you can't pet him.
Let's move on. Ghosts of Tsushima.
Well, you can now, So you can pet foxes always. Then in the multiplayer thing that is out tomorrow at the time of recording, there's like ghost wolves, I think, that you can summon. And now they're adding a charm where you can pet the I can't remember what dogs they're called, but they look quite cool. They're big, like hairy things. Mm-hmm. You can pet them and turn them on your side. So yes, you can, but not technically right now. You will be able to with the new update.
Yes, from October the 16th, which is in tomorrow, as of time recording. With the version 1.1, you can now equip the charm of canine recruitment and pet dogs. Congratulations, that's 1 from 2. Next question. Baldur's Gate 3. Can you pet the dog?
You can definitely pet the dog in Baldur's Gate 3 because I've seen pictures of it, and I think it's really funny because the people look really good, and then the dog, I mean, he still looks like a dog, but the graphical fidelity on him is less good. But you can definitely pet the dog in Baldur's Gate 3.
Answer is yes. It's a dialogue option which results in much petting and subsequent approval from your team. That's 2 from 3. Next up, Genshin Impact. Can you pet the dog?
Absolutely no idea. All I know about Genshin Impact
is not a valid answer.
It's the big anime game that a lot of people seem to be really into at the moment, but I just don't really care. Let's go with a no.
The answer is no. Not in this capped 260 frames per second on PC title. Not bitter about that bit, obviously. But that's 3 from 4 for you, Henry. You're doing pretty well. Next up, Among Us. Can you pet the dog?
I'm yet to play Among Us. I do want to, but me and my mates keep not being free at the same time. I don't even know if there is a dog. My knowledge of the game is you're a group of astronauts or something on a spaceship, and you've got to keep the spaceship flying. But one of you is basically the monster from The Thing, and no one knows who it is. You've got to figure it out. I'm not sure if there is a dog. There is a dog in the movie The Thing. But I'm going to say no. I don't believe there is a dog.
Okay.
I feel like I would know that.
The answer is no. You can buy a pet dog, but there's no petting available. Well done. That's 4 from 5. Next up, The Outer Worlds, Peril on Gorgon. Can you pet the dog?
I think you can, because that's the kind of company Obsidian is.
Answer is yes. I'm sure it passes for a dog at least. So whatever looks like, the thing that looks like a dog, you can pet it.
4 legs and big teeth.
5 from 6. Congratulations, you're doing well here. No pressure now, Henry. 7th question. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game. Can you pet the dog?
And again, I feel the kind of game that is, it's kind of fun and cartoony. I reckon you probably can.
And the answer is no. They just bite you instead.
Well,
that is a disappointment. So that's 5 from 7. Moving on to question 8. Sea of Thieves. Can you pet the dog?
I think yes. I feel like this came in an update. I think you can.
The answer is yes. Thanks to an update, you can fulfill your pirate dog petting needs. Congratulations. That is 6 from 8. Question 9. Crusader Kings 3. Can you pet the dog?
Well, Crusader Kings, it's not a very active game in terms of character behaviours and stuff. It's choice-based. But I don't believe you can pet the dog in Crusader Kings 3.
The answer is yes. They put it under decisions as if you decide otherwise. You get a pet dog as a childhood friend, or a pet cat as well even. But you can go to the decisions and decide to just pet your dog. I mean, why would you not do that?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm glad to be wrong about that.
That is 6 from 9, I believe, and we have 1 question remaining to make it a 7. The Wolf Among Us. Can you pet the dog?
Well, that's a Telltale game about a werewolf. And I reckon he's going to have some fun times with the dog, so why not? Yes, you can pet the dog in The Wolf Among Us.
You were doing so well. No, alas, the wolf is for protagonistic purposes only. Get that right, or I'll get slayed. So, unfortunately, Henry, we were doing so well. We were up to 6, but then we stalled. So we're still on 6, so 6 from 10. Unlucky, I guess.
I thought Telltale's sense of humour would come through a bit more in The Wolf Among Us, but apparently not.
Yeah, there you go. So thanks as always to Mr. Metal Shark for his continued dedication to the quiz segment. We all appreciate it. Let us know how you did in the comments. See if you got them all right, or if you got less than Henry, better, higher or lower than Henry. Let us know in the comments. Let's move on to some other questions put to us by our faithful supporters over on the Patreon Discord. First up, Henry, do you want to read it?
Yeah, I'll take this one. It's kind of long, so forgive me if I stumble over it. It's from Cloney. Jim Sterling attacked CDPR this week quite harshly for going back on their promise not to crunch. While I don't necessarily agree with his viewpoint, he raised an interesting question that I would like to ask you guys. What do you believe has to be included in a review of a game? As a customer, I want to be informed about how it plays, who it may click with, and if it's good or not, based on individual and statistical values, so I can make my own decision. I do not, however, care about how it was made, how many infants were slaughtered in the making, and how many animals were harmed. If I want to inform myself about that and then subsequently avoid the product on moral grounds, I do that with my trusted news outlets and research, not a review. What do you think belongs in a review? What structure do you believe is best? And what reviews do you consult for your choices? I am a firm believer that art can be enjoyed no matter how evil the artist is. For example, if Hitler created the Mona Lisa, it would still be a remarkable painting despite the creator. So I really don't think the amount of crunch involved with the making of a game influences how much I enjoy it. Basically, 100% agree with that. I think there's crunchy stuff. It's worth maybe a footnote mention, but it should not be part of the review, because the review is of the game, not the climate around it. I think you could very easily put in like a link to another thing, which is a review of the company, a review of the practice of the production of the review. But at least this is the way I approach my reviews, and personally, I think my reviews are pretty damn good.
Well, I mean, I happen to agree with you on that. What I would say is the reason someone reads a review is to see whether this game is worthy of them purchasing it, right? Some people consider the ethical background of how the game was produced or how the product was produced just in general, that some people consider that to be a key factor in whether they buy or not. Say if a t-shirt was produced using child labor, I don't know whether this one was or not, I'm just using that as an example, some people would not ethically not buy that because it supports that bad practice. That is a key bit of information, I would say, which would influence whether you buy it or not, which I think should be included. As a footnote, like Henry said, I don't think it should go into detail, a big breakdown of what was said, what was supposed to be happening, this and that. Link to another outside source. By the way, this company supposedly generated this product. Supposedly generated content, this product, using these bad circumstances. So I think it should be mentioned for those people who do want to ethically purchase their products. However, I don't think it should be gone into detail. That's just my opinion. Yeah.
Then the kind of next bit, what do you think belongs in a review? What structure do you think is best? And what reviews do you consult for your choices? Metacritic is always a starting point, and the way I do my review roundups is basically how I consume reviews anyway. I'll pick some of the top ones, some of the bottom ones, and then some of the middle ones, and extrapolate what carries through all of them, because that's likely to be the most consistent thing, and then figure out what the differences are and see whether this is just a person's personal taste. Like most recent one, I think I did Star Wars Squadrons. There's a lot of mixed stuff about that. Some people really love it because they love all things Star Wars, and if you love Star Wars, you're going to enjoy, especially in VR if you can get it to work, being in a spaceship, flying through and listening to Star Wars stuff. That's awesome. But if you're not a Star Wars fan, and you're just like a flight sim fan, maybe it's not going to connect with you as much. And I think that was so evident in so many of the reviews. They're like, I love Star Wars, I love this is to me, I loved it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a really important thing that you need to figure out. And when it comes to like YouTubers and stuff, you got to find someone who aligns with your tastes, but also find someone who doesn't, and maybe listen to what they have to say, because there's all like the outragey ones who get mad about everything, and sometimes they raise good points. So it's worth having a look at them as well.
Yeah, I like to be as objective as possible, and if somebody can somebody can represent something without his own opinion in there and represent both sides, why this is good, why this is bad, and give me all that information, then that helps me process and make my own decision. I don't like people to say, you should believe this because of these reasons, because I think that's just too one-sided. It's too biased. I think that more information on both sides of any sort of decision-making process, the better. So more objective, the better for me. And the more factual, I can make my own mind up then. I don't have to rely on anyone else's opinions.
And your Hitler example is really good, because I've talked about this before, but Hitler is a fantastic artist. Like, if you look at some of his pictures, they're amazing. There's one really good one that comes to memory of a dog in, I think it's like a pencil drawing. It's incredible. Doesn't mean that he didn't do truly horrific things.
No, that's true, but it's kind of the better example would be if Hitler was still alive and he was still persecuting people, and you buying his art allowed him to continue persecuting those people. That would be a better comparison.
Yeah, and then in that case, it's one of the reasons I'm still a big supporter of physical media, because you can buy it secondhand. That means that no money goes to them.
Let's buy Hitler's art pieces secondhand, just so that he can't do the horrible things that he likes to do.
Fuck that guy, obviously.
Let's buy
a controversial take.
All right, Henry. At least we know what we should think now. But it's a can of worms. A lot of people have different opinions about this. It shouldn't be included at all, or it should be included in the background of the company. It should be included. It's up to you guys, but we've all got opinions. We've all got arseholes.
That's the point. If you want that sort of thing to be included in reviews, well, then watch your review and then look it up afterwards. Like, and it'll take you a little bit longer if you ever want to buy anything to figure out whether it's ethical or not. But that's on you as a consumer to make those steps.
I always think more information, the better. So moving on to the next question, which is again from Cloney. Next controversial point, and you might want to save this for another video podcast. Do you believe there should be choices in games that are morally grey or outright bad? In times of resurging racism, bigotry and hatred for one another, where Karens infect others with the bad cough and people rage against vaccines, sometimes I just want to open up a game and shoot at innocent bystanders like I do in GTA, or be a racist prick in one of the role-playing games. Like, sometimes I just want to be the evil guy with no consequences, purge it from the system. Is that separate to the next bit? Lastly,
I think that's still part of it.
Okay. Lastly, however, the games industry seems to be pressured into removing those choices. One example being Dungeons and Dragons removing negative traits from races, so all playable races are equal, which is fine, but as a DM, I'm still going to give you a disadvantage when you try and seduce as an elf as an orc. You are mortal enemies, mate. What do you think of this? Do you miss the opportunity to run into a group of citizens in Assassin's Creed and just murder people when you botched 100% the quest for the umpteenth time because this fucking tank doesn't dodge fast enough? Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood flashbacks. Do you need more Just Cause 4 in your GTA? Or are you the kind of guy who always tries to please all the side characters in Dragon Age to get the good ending? Like this miserable person who reloaded the same fucking quest 100 times to get it right. Fucking elves, too damn fickle. In short, is political correct culture going too far when you can't be the bad guy in video games anymore? Or are we just sick and evil for wanting to be a prick occasionally? This is a can of worms. Good luck with the answer for this one, Henry.
Right. Well, I'll try and go in some sort of structured order. Should we be able to be evil in video games? Absolutely. It's fun. It's fantasy. It's escapism. Like, there are few things in gaming that are more satisfying to me. Maybe I'm a psychopath, but I don't give a shit. Is playing GTA with a fat lorry or a bus and just nailing pedestrians, just mowing the fuckers down. It's incredibly satisfying.
I want to share a quick anecdote. Right, when we used to do gameplay videos on PGG a couple of years ago, when Emmy, who was working here with helping me with the guitar stuff, we asked her to edit one of the videos, and I was playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, And she was kind of editing along, and my gameplay was like it was a medieval character, and it was just this wench just sewing, goes quite happily and merrily, just minding her own business on this log. And I just went up to her and struck it with my sword, and she ran off. And she was trying to escape my brutality. I ran for no reason at all. I just thought, look at her. I ran after her and killed her. Now, this really upset Emmy. And I, for somebody who doesn't play games like Emmy, to experience like a cold-blooded murder, she was on the verge of tears, and I was like, oh my god, I just didn't consider it from her point of view. To her, I was just walking up to some innocent bystander and murdering her, and it was like fun. It's just fun. It's not a real human being, but it's just not how it was taken. And it's like maybe we are all psychopaths, Henry.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, her response to that is to not play video games because she doesn't enjoy them and doesn't want to engage in that sort of thing. Totally fine. Yeah. But I'm sure I think it's a safe assumption to make that everyone watching this channel is a video game player. And I think everyone can enjoy violent games. There's a reason violent games are like always the most popular ones. Occasionally there's a sports title that's almost as popular, but Call of Duty still for I think it's like the last 13 years is the best-selling game of the year. Not necessarily the best reviewed or best game, full stop. It's the best selling. They always just dominate in raw sales. Microtransactions become a whole nother problem. But that's because they're fun. It's fun and it's cathartic and it's escapism. And you can... there is some studies on it, but it's still kind of inconclusive. But there are certainly some things to suggest that if you go in and kill a bunch of people in video games, that it actually reduces your aggression levels. And it can... You're less likely to go out and do it in the real world because you have this healthier escape. I mean, obviously, playing video games non-stop every single day, all the fucking time, killing people, there's probably going to be a few alarm bells going off. But I think violence in video games is an important catharsis, and it's fun, and it's escapism, and I don't think you should be taking that away because some people don't like it. If those people don't like it, they don't have to engage with it. I think the Dungeons & Dragons thing, I think, is a really interesting example because some people have taken it as you're removing negative traits from races because you want everyone to be good. I actually think it's better this way. If I'm currently playing an orc in my campaign, and he's a real bastard, but I'm not playing him as inherently evil, and I think taking away inherent evil stuff like that is interesting because it makes characters more interesting, makes them more complex if you're playing it because if I'm playing an orc, what if I want him to be a good guy? What if I want him to have a bit of a redemption, Jaime Lannister kind of thing going on? That makes more sense in the canon now that they're not inherently evil. I think that's good to me.
Yeah, I think it's a touchy subject, and it all depends on how you deal with it, right? I'm not a fan of no consequence bad action. I mean, in GTA, you say you can shoot at innocent bystanders, no consequences. There are consequences. The police will get onto you and they'll take you down and shoot you and kill you. So being a racist prick, as you put it, in one of the role-playing games, it depends, right? If it's a single-player game, it's not going to harm anybody. If you're being a racist prick on a multiplayer game, that's obviously we're not considering that as being any sort of good. But I think it always
is harming people.
I think that allow people to do what you want, because you can live out your power fantasies and with no real life consequences. I think that's maybe what you mean. Like, you can shoot at someone in GTA, but no real life consequences. But I think it's I don't if I even want to use this example, but imagine a game where one of your special moves or a bonus moves, you're just an evil character, was to physically sexually assault a woman. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Imagine that was doable in a game. I wouldn't approve of that at all. I would think that would be horrible, and I think in order, I definitely think that's wrong. I definitely would never say that's right. It's very complicated. You as the protagonist should never be able to do that. That's just a written rule. I think that's definitely, you should never be able to do that. However, somebody else to do that to another character in a game could be fine so long as it's dealt with in the right way. As in, it happens in movies. That means, if the perpetrator has consequences and it's shown that this is bad and it should never be done by actual human beings, and that I think could be fine. But then I've drawn a line there. I've said that this definitely is not for players to be able to do that, it's definitely not allowed. Where does the line stop? Right, that's the problem now. It's like, does it stop with murder? Does it stop with being doing all sorts of other gory things to people? I mean, I'm not sure where that line should be drawn. I definitely know some things should not be done by players. That's just my opinion. This is a can of worms. Everyone has their own opinion, and I'm probably that's where I'm going to leave it.
I mean, I think you're right. There are definitely some things that are bad, and like when you do them in a video game, that you should be. There's, like in GTA, you get the police on you if you kill people. Like, there's a lot of the PC cancel culture sort of stuff happens irrespective of context, which is the tricky thing. I remember a little while ago, one of the X-Men movies was coming out, and the character, the bad guy of the film, the big villain, was on a poster choking out Mystique, the I guess the female lead of the movie, kind of. He's strangling her, and it's on a billboard. And I say a lot of people. Realistically, it's never a lot of people. It's going to be like 7 people.
Loud minority, yeah.
Yeah, they get annoyed about it, saying he's strangling women, and I'm like, well, yeah, he's the bad guy. He's the villain. We're not meant to be on his side. He's an asshole. He's actually a very poorly written villain because he's just evil. Like, there are times like that where the context makes sense. He's a bad guy doing a bad thing. So I think there should be an element of criticism about what you're doing, but then you get games like The Last of Us 2, which is like, we're going to make you feel bad for doing everything we're doing, but we're going to make it really fucking fun to do it. We're going to make shooting people really brutal, but we're going to make you feel bad about it. So that's where video games need to work on what they are as an art form, because they absolutely are.
They have to be sensitive to the real life issues as well. You can't just like I don't think it does anybody any good to just represent these horrible things without any consequences.
For the sake of it.
Yeah. What's the word? Gratuitously. I think you do have to have some weight and some sort of lesson that you're trying, some sort of message that you're trying to portray, which is you shouldn't do this shit because it's really fucking bad and it destroys people's lives, I think as long as those messages are portrayed in the right sensitive way, then I don't think anything should be off the table unless you're a protagonist and you're made to do something which just honestly crosses the line. That's my opinion. I'm sure there's going to be loads of opinions about this, but Cloney, thanks for those questions, dude. There were two biggies.
You noted it was controversial at the very beginning, so we know what we're getting into.
Those were two biggies. But, we don't shy away on this channel, and that's what we're here for. That's why we get demonetized. And if you do, we're probably demonetized at having just mentioned what we've just mentioned. So if you do want to support us, to bring you our opinions, patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. Let's move on.
Okay. Next one's me, right? Okay.
Yeah.
This is from Ammodites. Hey there, guys. Thanks for all the work you put into the content every week. It's really appreciated. Well, thank you very much. To continue on the Lord of the Rings game topic from the last podcast, did you guys see the announcement trailer for the new Lord of the Rings Gollum game? Is it really the best game concept they could come up with out of all the history and lore Tolkien created? What skills does Gollum have? Loved one of the comments on the video. Loved one of the comments on the video. Gameplay will be like 5% fishing, 10% talking to yourself, 85% trailing missions. What do you think? Is this a Game of the Year contender? Yeah, this Gollum game, it was announced like last year, completely sort of out of the blue. It's a very small project, which kind of makes it even more confusing. Like, how did such a small thing get the IP rights to do a Lord of the Rings game? Why you're centering it on Gollum it's an odd choice. I don't see how it could be that compelling, and some of the footage doesn't look the best, but I mean it's
do we have more than just a trailer at this point?
I think there's some stills, but it's just like a CG trailer. I don't think there's any gameplay out yet.
So it was announced in March 2019. It's an action-adventure game from Daedalic Entertainment, a German studio famous for making point-and-click adventure games. The most Deponia series, for those of you who are familiar with those. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a great game. The Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun I played, and that was a decent tactical game. If it's going to be an isometric game like that, point-and-click or game, I'm not sure what I'm going to find.
I don't have high hopes for this one. If I was to make a game about any solo character, Gollum wouldn't be near the top.
Okay, 2021 released PC and all relevant consoles. So I guess we'll know more later down the line. So we'll keep you posted with that one. Thanks for the question. Amodites. I think, did we answer it? Sure we did.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a bit shit. Is it really the best concept they could come up with? Yeah. No.
Next up, Dayoth. We're 4 PlayStations and 58 years from PS9's reveal commercial. It even boasts improved retinal scanning, suggesting PS8 will be a first-generation vision or perhaps a weird iteration of their Spores. How likely do you think it will be that Sony were a bunch of lying bastards just like hoverboards and flying cars in Back to the Future? If you're still angry about
too much stock in PlayStation's ability to predict the future,
if you're still angry about hoverboards not being a reality, then you're going to be very disappointed in what the next few years of tech holds. Never mind 58 years. I'm not going to be around in 58 years. I'll be lucky if I am. But yeah, it's not something. Is this a serious question? I don't even know.
I mean, hoverboards, it would be cool, and flying cars would be cool, but I just think the amount of idiots that are already on the roads who are just bad drivers even before they get any drink or anything else in them, taking that and making it fly potentially very high up in the sky, that's just a fucking nightmare. Until humanity can be trusted with flying cars and hoverbikes and hoverboards, get them away. We're not ready for that yet.
There you go.
Intellectually. Okay, we're on to the next one. Okay. Angry Hobbit 0. What do you guys think of the hyping of the new consoles, by which I mean keeping themselves in the spotlight? I'm not sure if it's as simple as I don't follow Sony, but I'm seeing a lot of keeping PS5 in the news. With Xbox, I've seen loads of news for things like Series X unboxing. Look at the Series X packaging. Microsoft sent me an Xbox Series X review. Microsoft sent me their new SSD unboxing. I could go on. Yes, I admit it's mostly mundane shit, but a clever bit of marketing. Keeping in the spotlight, drip feeding snippets of info. I'm sure there's people out there creaming over a short clip of the outer packaging. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's marketing 101. Just keep it relevant, keep people talking about it. I have zero interest in any sort of unboxing stuff. I know it's a very, very popular sort of niche of YouTube. I don't care. It's not anything that's ever interested me. I think there's an ASMR element to it for I think a lot of people, because they do it with soft white gloves and they just
crunchy plastic.
As they unwrap it all and unwrapping all the wires and whatnot. Yeah, cool. If you like it, awesome. People can make a decent living on it. There's a lot of big YouTubers who do it as their dedicated craft. Doesn't mean anything to me. I'm like you. When it comes up, I don't care. I think a lot of it seems to come all at the same time, because they send out a copy of the Xbox Series X to everyone at the same time. They send it out to loads of different people, so it looks like it's a huge groundswell of stuff all at once, but it's all the same thing. It's all the same unboxing of the same machine and the same review.
Well, I think it is clever marketing in a way that your favorite creator, the creator that you follow, the tech creator, whether it's a gaming creator, wherever, all of a sudden I got given this fabulous present, and if we got given one, we'd be excited too. We'd be like, oh, this we got a freak. This is amazing. But obviously, the viewers wouldn't be as excited because they haven't got their free fucking console early doors. But anyway, this excitement which these creators are experiencing by getting these free gifts then gets communicated as, oh, I'm excited for this product, which isn't really the case. It's just because Microsoft thought them important enough to send them a free bloody console or two or whatever. Yep. So that's why it's clever marketing. See, it doesn't mean exactly that the the creator endorses that product or recommends other people buy it, but that's how it's perceived by the watchers, and that's why it's so effective.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
People like it. People watch it. Unboxings, certainly of the bigger ones, they get big views. People like them.
It's not just unboxings. It's like first impressions or just aesthetics, aesthetic review or whatever. I've seen a couple of the tech reviewers that I watch doing that, and I watched it because I want to see what it looks like. But then again, I can think for myself, and I won't be taken in by by some over eagerly excited YouTuber gushing about the fact that they just received a free product, like we would be if we released one. Hint. Microsoft, if you want to send us
the exact same thing.
Send us one each, and we'll totally gushing. We'll do 2 videos, one each, gushing about how good the console is. There's our promise to you.
One thing about the console ones, it's less relevant with the Xbox Series X because that kind of looks about as big as it is, I think. But the PS5, seeing someone hold that, like in the tech teardown thing, that I think is more relevant to me because you can but I don't need a whole video. I just need a picture of a guy being like, there you go, it's big. I think that's about as much engagement I get out of it, to be honest.
Okay, we have one last question. This is a Cloney bonus question, and he says, so Henry, are you still playing Marvel Avengers? I feel like the industry is still trying to kill, read that as copy, World of Warcraft. In case this needs explanation, the World of Warcraft is the live service. People are playing it for 15 years and didn't stop spending money on it. For their 15th birthday, they got you a free statue if you played 15 years without skipping a month. They had content drafts every expansion, meaning months without new things to do. But we're still here paying $13 a month to play it. Meanwhile, Anthem,
Yep. They're absolutely chasing that sort of high. Everyone's trying to be it, but
it's that Fortnite.
No one.
I think that
right to it. Fortnite's definitely the new one.
Fortnite blazed the trail in terms of making, World of Warcraft. Yes, it's made millions of pounds, but that's a subscription, a slightly different model. But Fortnite is the free live service or the ongoing service, which isn't paid for, which is like once you're into Anthem, it's the same kind of thing. So I think Fortnite is the perpetrator.
And I think with Fortnite, there's no two ways about it. Whether or not you like the game, like I'm not a fan, but it's done an incredible job of constantly bringing new stuff, constantly updating. On the new live events they're doing now, they don't interest me at all. They're people I don't care about in a game I don't care about, but they're really interesting. It's like no one else is really doing that kind of thing, so it's cool to see. But then going back to the crunch thing, Epic Games always has a problem with crunch. They've always got something going on about that, like the amount of work it takes to get Fortnite to be what it is. So that's an interesting thing worth considering. Like, can it be done by other companies if they don't crunch their workers until they want to kill themselves? But to answer your actual question, am I still playing Marvel's Avengers? No, I haven't played it for a while. Fucking hell! I said in when I did a video about it at some point. I don't have the comment in front of me. I might be able to find it. I complained that you still can't open certain doors with certain characters, and that's fine if you're with other people, because then you can coordinate and get Hulk to punch through the big door, because Black Widow can't. Then some guy commented back to my pinned comment, which is me saying, the game could be really, really good, but it's not. Someone commented back saying, where is it? Here we go. The door problem was fixed. Try journalism next time. This game sucks, though. So I looked it up. I was like, okay, perhaps I've got it wrong. And I did try to play it.
Snarky little bastard. Try journalism next time.
He's also wrong. I tried looking it up, and I tried playing it, but I was like, I just couldn't be arsed with it. I was like, I've got myself out of the loop. So now I'm like, fuck it, I'm not. I'll go back when there's new characters. So they haven't fixed the fucking door thing. You can't open any door with any character. That's what I was saying. They've changed it so that Captain America can now punch through big doors, because there's either big doors that you need to smash or doors you need to hack. You can either do one or the other, and Captain America couldn't do either. So they gave him the ability to punch through the big doors. Okay, fabulous. But you still can't open big doors with Black Widow. She's the only one who can't do it now. Iron Man can, if you use your ultimate ability, which you get to the Hulk Buster, and you can just smash through it, which is great, but it's a waste of your best ability. So Widow still can't do it, and your comment is incorrect. So try journalism sometime.
So actually,
try reading the fucking patch notes correctly next time.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is,
try stop being a
this
dick.
game sucks though. This game sucks though. It's like, well, why the fuck are you like whining about it? You're whining about a problem which I raised, which is still the case, criticizing me, and I'm not defending the game.
Henry.
You're being a dick.
All right, Henry. I think you made your point there, dude.
Fuck this asshole.
All right. On that note, I think that we have reached the point.
I'm the triggered fanboy of
we are ready, and we're all primed now for the next segment, which is the triggered fanboy comment of the week. And since Cloney has been the MVP this week, this week's triggered fanboy comes from Cloney. Are you ready, Henry?
Oh,
Ready?
Golly.
God damn it, Henry! I don't care if I'm the next fucking fanboy. How dare you not destroy all of the pottery in the underworld? I had to roast Jim for this, and I have to roast you now too. You call yourself a Zelda nerd. You played games before. Destroy the damn pots! Sorry if anybody's ears were offended with that.
When have I ever called myself a Zelda nerd? I've played
and that's the bit that you choose
Zelda games.
That's the bit that you choose to refute.
Yeah, that's the one. Like, there was a lot of information, and I've latched onto that. Well, let's go back. Right, Cloney, we're going to war. Right, read it to me again.
Okay. God damn it, Henry. I don't care if I'm the next fucking fanboy. How dare you not destroy all of the pottery in the underworld? I had to roast Jim for this, and now I have to roast you too. You call yourself a Zelda nerd. You played games before.
We're talking about Hades here, right? So I'm trying to think of what the triggering event is for you, Clive. What did we say about pots?
You said there's pots strewn around, and obviously you destroy them and get some of them have gold in them, some coins.
But even then, only if you have the ability.
Yeah,
it's not always.
Not always.
And you can tell which ones do and which ones don't.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure, because sometimes I think, I'm not quite sure because the game doesn't tell you everything, but I think sometimes I've destroyed some pots and just got some money randomly. So, Henry, how dare you
maybe
explain yourself?
I'm not smashing pots if they've got nothing in them. I did for like the first few rooms, and I was like, well, I've got nothing. It's a timed game.
Yeah, I'd like to see how long it takes you to finish a run, Cloney, destroying all those damn pots.
If you smash every fucking pot, none of them have anything, and even then, if you get gold, it's like 15 gold once you max out the ability. So it's not even. It's 5 at the beginning. What a fucking piss take! I don't want 5 gold. I'll get side hustle ability from Hermes, and I'll get 15 gold every time I enter a room. Yeah. That's how you get money. That's how you do it. And I'm not a Zelda fan. I mean, I played
How dare you
about
misrepresent
half of Twilight Princess on the Wii back in the day, and then I got stuck at a puzzle. And I think a new game came out, and I just never went back to it. I did enjoy it though; like, it was fun. And the only game I've ever played beginning to end is Breath of the Wild. So, and I'm not a Zelda fan. I like that game, but I wouldn't call myself a Zelda fan. And and you know what? That's okay.
That is okay. I think what we've been doing recently, it's been harder and harder to get these triggered fanboys, because we maybe put our opinions out there, but then give it some sort of disclaimers like, this is what we think, but we're not sure. Yeah. And I think the more that we're doing that, the less we trigger people. So this is why I've had to use Chloe.
We're being too reasonable.
We are being far too reasonable for a gaming channel on YouTube and online.
Yeah, on the internet.
So that was it. So thanks for the your contribution to this week's podcast, Cloney. It was great indeed. Now let's move on to some other more notable comments that we've been reading this week in our comments. Do you have any?
I've got a couple. I don't have them immediately in front of me. So I'll start.
I've got a few. So I did mention earlier that we're not always right, and we always sometimes get things wrong, and information comes to light where that we get corrected. And I think this comment kind of qualifies as Gaz saying dumb shit comment of the week. So Miss M. Grimble from last week's podcast said, LMAO, SSD is fast because it's soldered to the board. What the fuck, guys? That's got to be the worst tech take I've ever heard. Impressively dumb.
Impressively dumb.
And then it was replied to by Hayes Cooper 19, who may or may not be a relative of yours. Yeah, I face palmed so hard at that bit. You know what, guys? If an SSD is soldered to the board, so it doesn't have to use a different connector, it's got to be faster, right? It's literally physically closer to where it needs to be used. That was my impression of it. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but if that is the worst thing that I said in that podcast that was wrong, then you probably got off lightly. I mean, sorry.
We do come out with so much bollocks, and we make mistakes very, very often. Just some people don't always clock it.
If it doesn't make it faster, then that's my bet. I've staked my case. If it's literally physically closer, you don't have to use other connectors, then why shouldn't it be faster? Tell me why. Please, Metal Shock probably knows. Tell me how it's not faster. Metal Shock needs to tell us why it's not faster. Anyway. that was Gaz's stupid comment of the week, and let's move on to another one. Do you have one?
Okay, so I've got one, and it's in that same Avengers video, but it's about the second story, which is Sega hinting at Dreamcast Mini, which is unconfirmed, but a Sega person kind of name dropped it as what they might do next. And I touched on some important Dreamcast games from my childhood, because my parents are divorced, and every time I went to my dad's, I'd hang out with my stepbrother, who is exactly the same age as me. He's like 2 weeks younger, so we kind of grew up at exactly the same time. And he had a Dreamcast, and we played games like Sonic the Hedgehog all the time, Sonic Adventure rather. And one of the games I mentioned, which desperately needs a remake or a new one, a sequel or whatever, is Power Stone. And this guy is backing me up. Power Stone 2 was such an underrated game, it definitely needs to get another game. And it's one of those titles that I forget about all the time, and then I think, oh, what could be a good one to remake? And it doesn't pop into my brain. And then I see it, I'm like, fuck, Power Stone was awesome. I don't know if anyone's played it in the audience, but the audience, like we're in front of an auditorium of people. You're not even in the same room as me. It's like an arena fighter, like where it's kind of, the way I rationalized it in my head at the time was it's like 3D Smash Bros. In that there's a bunch of different characters. They're all unique characters to the game. They don't borrow from anything else. They're originals, which is great. There's no original fighting games anymore. They're all, Mortal Kombat's or Tekken's or whatever. It was original. And you just beat shit out of each other. And everyone collects these things called Power Stones. And then eventually you get like a super ability. Like someone can basically turn from a regular martial artist into like a god, like a Super Saiyan, like a Dragon Ball, or that sort of thing, and do like big powerful attacks. And there's different items you can pick up to beat the shit out of each other. There's environmental stuff you can smash into, and the multi-tiered fights in different areas. It was awesome. It was great. Nothing else like it,
I believe
apart from maybe Smash Bros, but again, it's not the same. And no one's done it. Capcom, bring it the fuck back. Put it in what's the RE engine, make it hyper realistic and really good, and make it awesome. Or in general, just make new fighting games. I'm considering this basically a new fighting game because it's been gone for so long. But fighting games with original characters, because I don't like fighting games because I'm not very good at them, but they are fun, and the characters are what make them really good. That's what I want. I've had enough of Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
It's not much
Get
to
out
ask.
of here.
Come on now.
And fucking Ryu. Keep my dick. Fuck off, Ken.
Any budding game developers out there who wanted a tip about an idea about what to make a game on, Henry, he's just delivered there. There's a gold idea in there. Let's do it, guys. Let's do it for Henry. Next comment from Aurelia S. Liara! How could you forget the best Mass Effect waifu going? Unsubscribe. Only joking. Keep up the good work, guys. P.S. Love Liara. We did forget.
I must admit, I saw a couple of Liara comments. We were fighting for a name and we couldn't get it. And then as soon as I saw one, I was like, fuck, it's Liara. She's great. The blue, sexy science officer lady.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got another one here, which I'm glad someone kind of picked up on the thread I was laying out. And it's on the podcast from Marcus Hicks. Who cares about a little incest? Well, the Greek gods sure didn't. And the Greek gods, they didn't give a fuck about anything. As long as it's got something, they'll get down and jiggy with it. They really did not give a shit. They're much more liberal. And I'm not saying I'm for incest, because that's fucking weird. But just...
If it's in a game, it's one of those things in a game, right? No consequences.
Yeah, but then again, if Aphrodite from Hades was my aunt, you'd be very confused, because she walks around naked the entire time. I'm just gonna leave that one hanging in the air.
There you go. And on that same note, and actually the same commenter, even Marcus Hicks made one of my choices for the comment this week. Slightly different topic though. It's K-Ron, as in the character which you were calling Karen. That's the ferryman of the underworld who takes you across the river Styx. It's why the Greeks used to put a coin in each eye of the dead to pay Chiron the cost of passage, because you were calling him Chiron.
He's a Karen. He doesn't say anything. He just goes...
So, there you go, Chiron. Are you playing it with the sound down the whole time?
No, I was playing it with sound on, but in handheld next to my girlfriend while she's watching TV.
So that Karen was probably louder than the other Karen. So
exactly. So it's her fault. And I'm still calling him Karen.
Yeah,
it's what he is.
I think I'm done now for questions, dude.
Yeah, I don't have any. Interesting ones.
Okay, one last bonus one from the same video, which is the podcast we were talking about Hades. The Candyman says, "Wow. I feel like there's absolutely no need for me to play Hades anymore, as I already know absolutely everything about it." Well done, then, Henry. That's your objective achieved. You've given him all the relevant information. What you don't know, however, is how the bloody game plays. That's for sure.
And whether you actually like it. I didn't tell you any story stuff apart from that he wants to escape the underworld. And hearing about stuff, it isn't the same as doing it. That's why games are good.
Yeah,
that's why they're not movies.
And you definitely... It just shows that you did a good job explaining the game last week, because obviously he's well informed now. Like I said, he just doesn't know how the game plays, because I wasn't that informed, and it's totally different to play a game and then to hear about a game. So there you go.
Well, I'm happy to help.
So with that, let's move on to the final segment of the week, which is the bad dad joke of the week. What do you get when you cross a swamp monster with a bean?
I don't know. What do you get when you cross a swamp monster with a bean?
The creature from the black legume.
Very nice.
Okay, next one. Fun fact, Australia's biggest export is boomerangs. It's also their biggest import.
Yeah, of course. Obvious. Easy.
Okay, and the very last one, just for fun. What do you call a half man, half horse in the middle of an army formation?
I don't know. What do you call a half man, half horse in the middle of an army formation?
The centaur of attention. I mean,
who could see that one
just
coming?
One of three of many, many, many dad jokes on the Bad Dad Jokes channel that you can access from going to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. I mean, it's worth the entrance fee alone. From as little as $1 a month on Patreon, you get access to all those. Even if you hate us, even if you don't even listen to the podcast, you just like, for some reason, you just turn on the video and skim to this part of the podcast or the video, and you listen to that one joke, and you don't even give a shit about us. $1 a month gets you access to all those jokes and more every single week. It's well worth it. And if you do happen to enjoy the podcast, you do get it a couple of days early, and you've got the satisfaction of knowing that you support us bringing the content. There you go. That's my plug for Patreon out the way. And that leaves nothing left for me to do other than to thank everybody for watching. Thanks, Henry, for your participation. And on behalf of Henry and myself, we will see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.
Bye.